All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I of course want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, which is the name of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I just wanted to do a little video, man, regarding the flat Earth. Now, I did a video a couple days ago, and actually there was a lot of comments that were on that video, man. Some of them were negative, and some of them were positive, which is, of course, to be expected. It was a big, debate, in the comment section. I mean, hell, somebody offered, $8 million for a, a authentic, flat Earth map, which, was pretty ironic because I actually have I ordered I believe the map's called the new map of the world, or authentic new map of the world, something like that, right? The one where the Earth's a circle and it has the red, around it. I'm sure y'all might know what I'm talking about, but they have that ordered. Should be here within a few days. But anyway, that's besides the point. I wanted to just go into the Bible and just deal with the argument from both perspectives, man. Okay, because some brothers, are sincerely on the side of the globe, and some brothers are sincerely on the side of flat Earth. So how do we come to the, conclusion on the matter? Is, well, we got to dive right into the skip cheese and, see what it says. Now, one of the main verses that is of speculation, everybody brings up, is Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 22. So I real quick wanted to of course, pull that verse up. Okay, and then I'm going to go into that verse of why it's such a misleading verse. All right, and guys think they have a point bringing that up, but by logical deduction, we can clearly conclude that clearly, that's a false equivalency. Anyway, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, and verse 22. It says, "It is he that sits upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreads out Ashlakia, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in." Right now, guys just go here and say, well, it says the word circle. It says the circle of the earth. See, the earth is a globe. Well, not quite. What is a circle? Would you agree that a dinner plate is a circle? Is that not true? Is a dinner plate a circle? You must say, oh yeah, well, dinner plate's a circle. Okay, is a Frisbee a circle? Yeah, Frisbee's a circle. If I go to Domino's and I order a pizza, right, when I open the box without any slices taken away, is the pizza in the shape of a circle? Yes, it is. But here's the problem. You admit that a pizza, a Frisbee, and a dinner plate are a circle. But wait, they're not spheres. They're flat circles. Are they not? So if one can agree that something can be a flat object as well as being a circle at the same time, one cannot say that in Isaiah 40 and 22 it says circle of the earth. But wait, a circle was not a sphere. Matter of fact, let me show you something very interesting. And you see, guys don't bring this part out. They completely skip over this part. But if we just go back a little bit in the same book, all right, remember, this is the prophet Isaiah here. If we go back just a little bit to the book of Isaiah chapter 22, we're at Isaiah chapter 22 and verse 18. All right, I want to show you something real quick. Remember, this is the same man. He used the word circle of the earth, but he knew the difference between a circle and a sphere. Okay, a sphere, a ball, is different from a circle. All right, now can one say a ball is a circle? Yes, but there's many different meanings. Because again, how can we conclude, oh, well, see, it says circles, that means it's some type of like spear ball. Well, wait, that's not true, because a flat disc is a circle too. It's just a flat and round. Right? A car tire is flat and round. It's not a spear, but it's a circle though. Is it not? Right? A tire is not a wheel, a circle, but it's a spear though. No, it's not a spear, but it's a circle. So you see, guys think they're smart, but they get their ass handed to them by logical deduction. Anyway, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 22, and verse 18. It says, "He will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. There shalt thou die, and there the chariots of thy glory shall be the shame of thy Lord's house." But the point of the matter is it says the word ball in here. So the prophet Isaiah knew the difference between a spear, right, a ball, and a circle. They are not the same thing by definition. And it's funny because guys look up the definition of the word and say, well, one of the 10 definitions can mean a spear. And they'll, completely skip that, one of the definitions can mean something that's flat and round. They'll of course, skip over that part, though. Right? And they'll, cherry pick the one definition that fits their belief. That's just how guys do it. Which, again, I want to say this. Don't get it twisted. Okay? The belief in whether the earth is round or flat has nothing to do with a person's salvation. You can most certainly be saved, regardless of what position that you take on the matter. Okay, whether you believe the earth to be a globe or whether you believe the earth to be flat, you can most certainly receive salvation. This topic has nothing to do with a person's salvation. I, of course, want to make that clear. Okay, and we have much, love and respect, for all the brothers out there, whether they subscribe to a round earth or a flat earth. That is of no importance when it comes to salvation. Okay, I just want to, of course, make that clear. Okay, so some of you brothers who, take the side of the ball, and some of you brothers who take the side of the flat earth. Okay, it's all good. At the end of the day, when Christ returns, we're going to know, man. We'll find out. Maybe the earth is a globe, but maybe the earth is flat. Okay, there's, as I said, from my information that I've gathered, of course I'm going to have to side with the flat earth because that's what all evidence points towards. And, history and, the scriptures, everything points to that. And logic as well. But again, there's, nothing wrong with believing in a globe. If you want to believe with that, then hey, you do that. Okay, that's on you. Okay, that would not take away your salvation. Just to make that clear, once again. Okay, now one thing I wanted to get into, which I was thinking about, reading some of the comments that were on that video, from the other day. But I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that, addressing some of the points that people brought out. Excuse my language, there's some crazy shit on there, man. Guys were saying, oh, we went to the moon, and some stuff like that, some crazy stuff, man. Can't even begin to get into it here. As I said, got so crazy, somebody offered $8 million for an authentic, map, man. Anyway, let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 4, and verse 8. It says, and again, the devil taketh him up unto an exceedingly high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. And said unto him, all these things will I give unto thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Right, but the point of the matter is Satan took Yahushua, or Jesus, to the top of a great mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the earth. Right, now how, because the atmosphere was a lot clearer back then. Right, the air was not as polluted as it is today, in our modern times, so you could see a lot further, back then. Of course, you can't see forever because there's fog and rain, mist. Okay, and then of course the perspective of the eye cannot see forever. Okay, let's see real quick. Right, so that's, I would argue and say that's a flat earth proof right there. I want to go to the book of First Chronicles. Bear with me a second. Okay, First Chronicles, chapter 16. First Chronicles, chapter 16. And verse 30. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because sometimes I mispronounced numbers, so excuse me if I pronounce it incorrectly. Anyway, it says, fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Okay, so there we go. We're taught in school and from these, NASA and whatnot, that we're the ones who are moving. But according to the Bible, the earth is not moving. The earth is stable. Matter of fact, there are too many verses regarding the earth being stable and not moving. I can't even bring them all up here, but just for a reference, that's it right there. It says the earth is stable and it can't be moved. All right, so how can the scripture say the earth is stable and doesn't move, but yet NASA says that the world moves and we're revolving around the sun? All right, but guess what? I got something here. This is a big one right here. All right, this is gonna be a big one right here. All right, prepare to be amazed. All right, look at this. Okay, a lot of y'all cats out there didn't know about this. Okay, this is a big one right here, man. I would argue and say, this is a spiritual KO. Okay, this is a spiritual KO. Somebody called the ambulance. Inside joke. Right? Somebody called the ambulance, man. Somebody called the ambulance. Okay, shout out to anybody who gets that meme. Anyway, this is the book of Joshua, chapter 10 and verse 12. It says, then spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gideon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed. Wait a second, according to the Bible, the sun and the moon revolve around the earth. Spiritual KO to these guys out here who say that the earth revolves around the sun. The verse in the scriptures clearly state that the sun stood still and the moon stayed. By logical deduction, one can conclude, well, wait a second. If the sun stood still and the moon stayed, then by logical deduction, that must mean that they revolve around the earth and not the other way around. As I said, man, a lot of you guys out there, man, y'all got to do some research, man. Because I'm telling you, man, what you're being taught in school and by, NASA and what all that, that's all bullshit, man. Okay, I mean, it's clear as day right here, man. All right, this clearly says the sun stood still and the moon stayed. If something stayed, then that would imply that it was before moving. Okay, and that's not what we're told. We're told that we're the ones moving, but that's not true. That's not true. The scriptures say that the sun and the moon move, as I clearly have proven right here. Okay, so I don't see how one could, pretend that this isn't true. Okay, now I'm going to read on. Okay, I'm going to start again just to get the whole context. Joshua chapter 10 verse 12. It says, then spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gideon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and haste not to go down about the whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Right, so this was a divine event, right, that the sun stood still and the moon stood still in the sky for an entire day. Right? It doesn't say the earth stopped moving. It says the sun and the moon, they stood still. And again, by logical deduction, if something stays still, that means it was before moving. So again, this is clear in the scriptures that the earth is not the one who is moving, but the sun and the moon are the ones who revolve around the world. Okay, anybody who denies that, well, you're just denying the text. And for all my brothers out there who subscribe to the Globe, I mean, hey man, again, you want to believe that it's all cool, but I mean, You know, I mean, you gotta really question that, man. I mean, you know, the model you believe in revolves around the sun, but the scriptures say that the sun revolves around the earth, as the verse clearly described here. I'm not gonna leave y'all just yeah. I'm gonna get one more precept, and then we'll call that the lesson there. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 19. Psalms 19. And verse let's start at verse 4. Okay, this is a big one right here. This is a haymaker right here. Or as I call it, a spiritual KO. Anyway, Psalms chapter 19 and verse 4. Their line is going out throughout all the earth, their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of heaven, and his circuit unto the end of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. Right, but it says his circuit. Right? So this, as we can see, the sun is the one who revolves around the earth, as we are seeing clear in the scriptures here. Okay, so as I said, man, hey, whatever side, any brother picks, it's all cool. It has nothing to do with a person's salvation, whether you pick, a globe earth or a flat earth. But with that being said, by the evidence presented in the scriptures, there's just no way that one could, pretend, this isn't, hinting at a flat earth, man. I mean, it becomes very clear what this is talking about. But anyway, y'all can, take that information and do with it what you will. The evidence has been, presented, and that'll be the lesson there. Okay, so with that being said, all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, for this truth, and I'm gonna say shalom.